Alrighty, so we are recording here. While we wait for some folks to join us, I would love to know where you are coming from and what kind of project you're working on these days. So if you could pop that in the chat box or just shout it out loud, I would love to know. I am bouncing between finishing my one little word project and working on December Daily. I'm actually trying to hold myself off with restraints of doing December Daily and trying to focus on one little word.
Well, ditto for me, exactly.
We have Alabama, Kentucky, recognize folks here from all over, Texas, Iowa, Michigan,
Florida,
Australia,
Delaware, Australia, yay.
I'm switching between making a piñata for my son's birthday and December Daily.
There you go, that's fun. Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Virginia, working on monthly memory keeper, starting journal like Christmas, so fun. Sue in Boston, Oklahoma, so fun, awesome. I love these workshops. So I'm gonna pop the agenda into the chat box. And the way this is gonna go tonight is we're gonna break into small groups and we're talking all about practical planning. So there may be an element of, I like to use stickers as part of my practical planning, but this isn't like planner in the scrapbooky sense. This is how do I keep track of where I need to be when and the things that I want to do this week. And we're all going to have various ways that we currently do this well and maybe ways that we don't do this very well. And we're going to have a great deal of familiarity with some of the options and then maybe not as much familiarity with some of the other options. There's, of course, analog approaches, physical planners, more traditional approaches, and then there's lots of digital tools from ones that keep track of just the groceries you need to buy to full-on project management tools like Trello and Asana. And so I'm sure that's going to come into the conversation as well. Welcome to all those who have just popped in. So, okay, here's how this is going to go. I'm going to break you into small groups of 3 to 5 scrapbookers, and you're going to have a new group every single time. We're going to do 3 rounds of this, and I want you to stay open-minded to what you hear, because we have a really large diversity of scrapbooking types, styles, experience levels, interests, just overall perspectives on this hobby. We're all in this for different reasons. We all get different things out of it. And even if someone scrapbooks in a very different way from you or is in a completely different life stage than you, there's something that we can always learn from everyone. And kind of the flip side of that coin is that I want to encourage you to just share generously, because your willingness to share in these small groups, the small group portions are not recorded, is what contributes to the conversation and helps everyone learn more about how they can improve their hobby. And so what we'll do at the end is we will come back together into the larger group session, and I'll ask you to share some of your lessons learned, takeaways, aha moments, that type of thing. It can be something that you shared personally or something that you heard someone else say. So keep that in mind as you're listening. What do I want to walk away with? I think everyone should have at least 1, but maybe 2 or 3 different nuggets of things you might want to try, or just something that's interesting that you want to just carry forward into the future. So just reviewing the chat box, we also have folks working on their Hawaii albums, 2022 plans, of course, lots of holiday projects. And I want to just share that as this context of we all have things that we're working on. And what I see our role here at Simple Scrapper as is helping you refine your hobby so it works better, and giving you the camaraderie, the encouragement, and the accountability to actually keep moving forward and finishing those projects. And through that, of course, we talk about lots of fun ideas and ways that you can do that. But by talking about planners here tonight, that's going to give us some real tactical, practical tips to take into the new year about how you can show up more for your scrapbooking and actually not just say you're going to do something, but go and do it. All right, before we jump into the breakout groups, do we have any questions? I'm going to review the 3 discussion topics here. So first one, how do you keep track of appointments, and does this solution work well for you? So this is the places you need to be when, whether that's places online or places in the real world. Where do you store your projects or tasks? Sometimes tasks are one-off and sometimes tasks are part of projects. And are your scrapbooking tasks co-located? Are they in the same place as your non-scrapbooking tasks? There's no right or wrong here, good or bad. It's just helpful to think about that you might be treating those things differently, and is that working for you? One of the kind of big lessons learned that we talk about a lot is that when you start planning your scrapbooking like you plan the rest of your life, you might be able to pick up some of those techniques that you know already work well for you and apply them to your scrapbooking. And then finally, thinking more big picture, do you set goals? And I'm not just talking scrapbooking goals, do you set goals in general? And if so, where do you keep these and how often do you refer to them? How do you stay in touch with those goals? And that's another great example of how we can use the ways we approach goal setting, or maybe the ways that we've not done well with goal setting in the past, and learn about that and think about how we can use that for our creative goals for next year. Alrighty, here, let's see how many breakout group rooms we need. Let's do this many. And so we're going to talk for 10 minutes at a time, and then we'll come back together. I'll reshuffle you. And then finally, after the last one, I'll share a little bit about what we're doing right now at Simple Scrapper, and then we'll go into our full group session. The final recording, we'll just have this intro and that full group session at the end. And again, all of those small group conversations are private within your group. So I'm going to send you off now. I hope you have some great conversations. Let me know if you need anything at all. I will be here just making sure everyone gets to be where they need to be tonight. All righty. We're back. Now tell me all the things. I want to know what stood out to you, common themes, light bulb moments, never thought of it that way before type of thing. Tell me what you're thinking about.
Well, the group I was hi.
Hey.
The group I was just in, we said that having goals is great to have goals, but to then I think Kendall said to reverse engineer the goal. So set the kind of goal for the year, and then go backwards from that goal by breaking it down by weeks and each day what you're going to do as far as the goal is concerned. So that way it doesn't look so big and audacious and like I'm never going to get this done. But if you break it down piece by piece and then allow yourself some grace, some time to get it done. Maybe you just don't feel like working on a goal this week, and that's okay. Or maybe you just don't feel like scrapbooking this week, and that's okay. You know, just stuff like that. So give yourself time and grace in terms of doing all that.
I love that. I also love really trying to break it down and figure out if I want to be at this place at the end of the year, what daily actions, what small steps are part of that? Not even the tasks, but like the habits that you have surrounding that, making sure like you clean up afterwards, because sometimes cleaning up our messes is a barrier to getting started on the next project. So that's awesome. What else?
Someone in my last group, a lot of us were saying, oh, we've had to make goals for work, you know, SMART goals and this and that. And one of the gals said, calling them goals is kind of scary for scrapbooking. Like that's really kind of restrictive. It sounds like work. And so she said that she calls them ideas or plans. And then I was even thinking how you break the year into different journeys, that might be just better terminology for those of us who hesitate for goals because it's just so work related and not crafty fun.
Oh yeah, that's a great observation. Sometimes words can be barriers, and put these feelings in our head. So I love that. Thank you, Tracy. Melinda.
So in our group, Judy and Marianne both shared their flexible yet accountable formats for goal setting that really were inspiring and were kind of like in my 0 to 100 brain, it was like a nice 40 to 60 range. So I like that idea of having accountability and of setting a goal, but not having it be like a work smart goal with the very specific tangible outcomes, but just meeting with consistency and accountability was great.
Love that. I can tell you're inspired by that. So thank you for sharing that enthusiasm with us. Jessica, did you have your hand raised?
No, I think I made a mistake. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Okay.
If I can, I was in group 1 with Debbie I, and she was about to show an analog method that she was using, and we got cut off. If she's available, could she still share that with everyone?
Yeah,
possibly?
go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just showing like my creative hub in this like note binder, and like I split up projects like with just a piece of cardstock. And it kind of helps give me a go-to space like to keep ideas and keep projects and tasks organized instead of having them everywhere. So if like versus Trello, like, which I'm sure is great, but I tend to prefer analog. So that's like been a really good thing for me. And the Creative Hub class kind of helped put that all together.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you.
I don't know how
April.
to turn my, thank you. I'm like, I don't know if there's a raise hand thing. I was going to say, so Nancy reminded me that I had goals for 2022 because I did the planning week with you in November. And I basically took that last step. And so it was funny because I was like, yeah, I'm sure I'll have goals for it. And then I went, oh, wait, I do have goals. And I like pulled out my paper and I was like, look, these are basically my goals for 2022. So I wanted to commend you on that class. Thank you very much. And also say that somebody in our group talked about how having a deadline is a big deal as far as goals, because it doesn't, as somebody pointed out, you can say, I'm going to organize my photos all day long. And if you don't ever do anything about it, then they'll still need to be organized the next time. So
Yes.
I thought that was, I liked having the idea of having a date or time frame at least. So
Well, those types of very ongoing type of goals that require maintenance, a lot of times we, especially inside the community, we talk about how just setting aside the time and place that you're going to do that is way more important than how far you've gotten. You just need to show up and keep doing it again and again, and you will make progress. It doesn't matter if you've done 20% or 75% of your photos. The fact that you're doing it is what's going to make the difference for you. Jackie.
One of the groups I was in, there was a lady who mentioned how she used Trello, and I started using it last year, basically to jot down ideas and different things, projects or things I might want to do. But she went another step farther, where she actually makes a board for the year. And so she takes the things that are in her regular board of her Creative Hub and adds it to a new board of the things she wants to work on that year. And I just thought that was a really good idea. So it was basically separating it from the whole big picture of everything she might want to do someday.
I like that a lot, to be able to stay focused and not, you know, you can reference it if you want to remember what was that other thing that I wanted to do. Do I need to recombine things? But to really just keep a narrow focus on this is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I liked that idea.
Totally.
I think I'll try it.
All right. What else?
Just going back to what you were saying before about having that set time. Last time we did the Your Way workshop, I said I was going to work on my 2020 album and I was going to set aside time for getting it done, basically. And so I started setting aside an hour at 5 o'clock in the morning to just be in my scrapbooking room. I've got all of my 2021 foundation pages finished. So my 2020 album's what I moved to this morning, and it's working really brilliantly since the last workshop. So thank you very much.
Love that. Wendy. Or is that a clap? That's a clap.
That was
Sorry.
a clap, but that's okay. We also talked about the fact that maybe a lot of us were list takers and list makers, and we had lists of things. So we classified them as to-do things rather than as goals, because that seemed to work better for us. So we realized whilst we were saying we didn't really set goals, that we really did, but we set them as tasks because that's what works for the 3 or 4 of us that were in that group to prompt us to get things done. So if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, that terminology really makes a difference too, in terms of how your brain is processing it.
Yeah.
What about in terms of like your day-to-day? Like how do you know what you're going to do today or where you need to be today? And is that solution working well for you?
So I definitely do to-do lists each day, especially for work. And generally, if I've got stuff to do around the house, I'll have those on that list as well. So that'll cover for the full week. And by the end of the week, I will always have those things done because they're written down on a list, and that's what has to be done for the week. And no matter how long it takes, that's what gets done. So if I put it on the to-do list, it will get done.
Bravo. That's awesome.
I've got to get it on the to-do. The scrapbooking's got to make it to the to-do list, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, it sounds like if you're kind of an upholder to yourself, and there's my Gretchen Rubin reference, Kim. And if you're that type of person, you need to apply that to your scrapbooking. Because if you always get the laundry done and the cleaning done and the bills paid and all that, then you can do it with your scrapbooking too. So perfect.
It goes along with all the things I have to do for work too, because otherwise I forget it, right? So
Yeah.
it's everything's all mingled in there and it gets crossed off as it gets done. So yeah.
Perfect.
This is the first year that I have used a paper planner. So I do everything digitally to keep track of things. And I'm trying to pull and look at just a week and / a day at a time. I kind of look at a general week. Okay, I want to get these things done sometimes during the week. And then each morning I try to, what are my appointments that day? Some days there's a lot, some days there's not. And then what are the things that are like, here's the 2 to 6 things, 6 to 8 things that I really need to call done. Like they got to get done or I'm in trouble, or really this is what I want to do. And I try to make sure there's something from household, there's something scrapbooking related, whether it's organizing photos or looking things up, whatever. And then sometimes I have to push it, like I'm off by a day, but I found that by taking it from that big list, which I need to know that's all in there as a kind of a reference, but not looking at this giant list and just saying, what does your week look like? Here's these things. That has helped with the paper. So I'm hoping to continue it. I have a paper planner for next year, so I'm hoping that I will improve on it.
Very fun. I definitely plan very similarly to you, that I like to have the digital tools to house all the things. I can easily access it if I'm wherever I am at in the world to add something to it. But then when it comes to the daily, I need that satisfaction of being able to cross it off. Checking the box isn't quite as satisfying. Like, it's fine, but I want to cross it off. And so having that on my daily is really important.
I always say it's like a funnel. Like you start big and then you can just like narrow it in.
Yes.
As far as like task and project management and even like goal setting, one thing that was very apparent in my group was time periods was different for everyone depending on whatever their like life situation was. Like if you have a lot of kids or they're a teacher or whatever, like however they would plan, whether it was quarterly or every 4 months or the 2-month journey, like it was different for everyone depending on their different life situations.
I could even say, even in the smaller term, that some people like to just have like a monthly calendar on their desk. Some people like to have, weekly, and some people even do the full page daily, and they want to really map everything out. And so that's going to vary too. I know my coworker, she's increasing in all of these things in terms of what she has to do. And she has a little Maybook. So it's smaller than this, and it's just the monthly. And she writes in tiny, tiny print her little to-do list every single day on the day of the month. And it's adorable. But I don't know how she does it. So other observations. Are there stuff that you've identified that like, I've tried it, it doesn't work for me, I'm gonna let it go, even if it's like popular or what you think you should do? What are you letting go of? April, go ahead.
I tried Trello. I tried it. I did the 7 days, like all in, using it for everything.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. I just need my paper and pen.
Totally fair. No, you gave it a chance.
I tried really hard. Really did. I tried to give it, because I know y'all talk about it all the time, and I can see it, but I was like, I'm spending more time, typing on my phone, typing on my computer. I was like, it's so much faster just to so that was mine. If you're digital, it's lovely, I'm sure.
Totally fair. Debbie.
I think like we talked about letting go of too much, like taking on too much during the year. Like we talked in a couple of my groups about having really big goals, like, oh, I want to finish this album and this album and this album. And I think the planning party was really good for limiting that. Like, no, you've got 3 spots per journey. You've got, X amount of time. So I think letting go of unrealistic expectations can free up a lot of joy in the hobby.
There we go. There's the sound bite for the night. Letting go of unrealistic expectations can help you find more joy in the hobby. I paraphrased that. I dropped some of your words. But that's awesome. Thank you. Wendy, you got a clap from Wendy too. Perfect.
And I think, Jennifer, I was talking to some of the people in our class about, you did a session with us, and I'm sorry, I can't remember where it's called, where you worked us through to the end of the year, and then we had to prioritize things, and it got down and down and down till you realize all of those things you want to do, but you don't have time for them. And it came down to, I think, doing 1 to 2 things by the end of Christmas. By Christmas time, which I'm still working on, but it might be good to just put the name of that into the chat so that the other ladies could go through it, because even if you're not prioritizing to Christmas now, it was a really, really worthwhile thought process to go down to narrow down what you wanted versus what you needed versus really what it was you could achieve by the end of it.
Yes, no, thank you. I guess people keep mentioning that again, and that the whole process doesn't have a name, but let me see what I called it in my Instagram video. Let's see here. Where's me talking? Which scrapbook project should you finish next? So here, let me spotlight myself real quick. All right. So it's this video here where it's my head and a piece of paper that looks like this piece of paper on my Instagram account. So at Simple Scrapper on Instagram is that video. And Kim, I don't know if you can you link it up from the web? Is that something you'd be able to do and put it in the comments for us?
You said it was on your Instagram?
Yes, it's on the video IGTV tab.
All right, I'll see what I can find. I was thinking she was talking about from Refresh, like in September.
Oh, did we do?
Or maybe that wasn't it. Do you remember that when you had that planning thing that you walked us through?
We've done several different ones. I was thinking it was this one where we talked about how do you want to feel projects.
It was that one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're gonna have to come up with a name for that, Kim.
Sorry.
No, it's great. People keep mentioning it. I'm like,
now. And you probably did a similar thing in the planning sessions. I just haven't been able to make it along to those. We may have done the same sort of thing, but it was really, I think everybody on there kind of went at the end, wow, look, yeah, there are lots of things we wanted, and thought we do, but we just can't.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the one that stood out for me as this is the project I need to focus on turned out to be one little word. And I was totally surprised because when I sat down at the beginning, I wouldn't have just picked that off the list to say that's the project I should finish next. So
yeah.
Alrighty here. I wanted to share a couple things about things that I'm excited about inside of our community before we departed here, and share my screen. So I can't share every single thing that we're doing, and I can't give a full tour. For those of you who already are members, we are doing full member orientations on the next one is on January 2nd. So it'll be the second of every journey. So January 2nd, March 2nd, et cetera, where we walk through the entire community. But I know we do have a good number of non-members here as well. And I just wanted to highlight some of the things that we have going on. Our main thing that we offer is a paid membership community. Right now, the price is $19 a month or $149 for the year, and that is a 4-month. You get 4 months free if you do that annual plan. So it is a generous discount, and those prices will be changing at the end of the year. So now's the time to really think about whether or not this community might be for you, and if you want to lock in that price, because we do grandfather pricing for the lifetime of your membership. So as long as you remain a member, you get that price. And we have members that have been around for more than a decade. And are still paying that original price they paid when they joined. But this is what the community looks like. We are using the Mighty Networks platform, which we absolutely love because we can have all of our member content and our community and discussions under one roof, and also have an amazing calendar. So I wanted to show you that. Each week I'm posting on Instagram. You may have seen that I post kind of some of the highlights of what we're doing. But we have a full-on calendar here with more than 12 hours of open crop time every single week. These are hosted by our members so that you can just pop on here on Zoom, same Zoom room we're using tonight, and have just casual time to work on your projects. I know how much it's helped me. I try to attend the noon on Wednesday session. So I had to take my poor kitties to the vet, but that session has allowed me to stay caught up on my Project Life photo book this year and all of my photo management. And I can say that I've never been this caught up before, and it's 100% because of setting a time on my calendar that this is when I show up and this is when I do this activity. So it makes a huge difference just to make that commitment to yourself. And I can tell you that people do check in and say, hey, you usually come to this session. How come you're not there this week? Or is everything okay? So that's one of the things that I love about the community is just the genuine love and support and warmth. We care about each other, and we're here to always encourage each other on our creative projects and in all of our personal things. Because if you're sitting there for an hour or two with people, you end up talking about personal things too. What's going on with your mom? We have a lot of members that have caregiving responsibilities. What's going on in your lives? Say, hey, Jennifer, can we see your new kittens? Lots of fun things that just make it even more friendly and warm. Calendar, super awesome. Of course, we have all of our kind of official organized events too, but these open crop times have really become kind of a backbone of what we can offer because they're so important for accountability. I also wanted to point out a new group. We have a number of different small groups that we have, and we just added one called Everyday Habits. And we talked for a long time about whether or not we wanted to have a group that was basically specifically not about scrapbooking. It's about all the stuff that we do in our lives that supports us in being a scrapbooker. So a lot of that is even our personal wellness habits, even a little bit of organization and time management, the stuff we're talking about tonight. These things all contribute and are so interconnected with our ability to have the time, energy, and motivation for scrapbooking. And so having a group where we can specifically talk about those things kind of just naturally evolved. And so we just added that in the past couple of days. And then finally, I wanted to point out our journey system. So if you're part of the planning party, you already heard some of this last month, but we do 6 journeys a year. And this is a 2-month period, a 2-month container for your experience. And this came out of, as I mentioned, we've been doing the membership for more than a decade now, but members asking for a little bit more structure and guidance. But of course, they want lots of options and the ability to make their own choices too. And so these journeys allow us to give you some recommended paths, some recommended things we think that you might want to do to support your experience, and then some optional things if you want to go deeper on specific topics. And we'll be continuing that next year with 6 journeys. Our January, February journey will be habits again, where we really be thinking about how can we continue the conversations we're having tonight, and how can we start the year practicing the habits that are going to support us throughout the year. And so this is what you'll see here is our journey classroom. Here's this is the place where you can check off each step. And then there's also an activity feed tab where we have conversations. It's where we host our refresh retreats, and members, ask questions and share. And this is where we can support each other within the context of these little journey containers. And they just make it a little bit more contained, because that's sometimes when you join something, you don't know where to start or where to go, what to do next. This gives you just that grounding point for you to say, yes, I want to do a little bit of this, or no, I'm kind of I'm in a different zone. I'll just stay in touch, but I'm going to work on this other project. And you can, hang out in other parts of the community. We of course have a huge library of sketches and templates, story starters, classes, everything that you might want to do, but those journeys really are the heart of it. And we're going to continue to be emphasizing those as the starting point, the place to just get your footing going. And this activity feed is also where we have our journey journals. And that's an opportunity for you to basically do the same type of goal setting activities that we did tonight, that we did during the planning party, that we did during this activity, and to just write down, this is what I want to do for the next 2-month period. This is what's going on for me, and here's how I think I'm going to get it done, and be able to check in and have the accountability behind it too. So I just want to share those couple peeks in case you were interested in joining the membership. You can go to simplescrapper.com/membership to learn more. Of course, I'll be sending lots of emails in the future too as we approach that deadline. The prices will change on January 2nd. As I mentioned last week, I don't want to stay up I'll be up on New Year's Eve, but I don't want to be sitting at my computer on New Year's Eve changing that over. So we'll do January 2nd as the deadline here. All righty, thank you for all of you who are staying live, as well as all of you who watched in the replay. Any questions or further comments before we go tonight? Kim did post that link to the chat. Thank you so much, Kim. Which project should you finish next? And I will link that up in the email that I send with this recording as well, just to make sure everyone has that. Tell them how to get notifications of events. Yes. Is that Debbie? Yeah, Deborah Williams. Can you elaborate on your comment so I can make sure I'm answering it correctly?
Okay. At one time, I even got a text message from you that events were happening. Right now, though, it's I sync the calendar to. The calendar to my calendar on my phone, and tonight, I got a message saying that y'all were getting ready to start.
Yes. So a couple different ways. With the calendar that I showed you tonight, you can sync that fully to your calendar. And then if your calendar has reminders set up, you can get notifications that way with your normal reminder system. For events like tonight, those of you who registered through Acuity, you signed up and it sends you emails, that's when you can also get text message reminders. So we only do that for these bigger public events. We're not able to offer text message reminders for every single member event at this point. I'm assuming at some point in the future we can, but those of you who register for these type of events, you can get text messages. So lots of different ways to stay connected for sure. Michelle said, this was fun. It was my first time being in small groups. Thank you, ladies, for all the new ideas. I hope for those of you who are watching the replay, maybe have lurking, I hope you know that this is a kind of a safe, welcoming environment. I know some of you were probably nervous to join the conversation for the first time. And I hope now that you know that it is cozy and comfortable, you'll feel even more confident returning the next time. And those of you who are lurking, I hope you will join us on one of these. I also said my first time being in small groups, told someone it was like speed dating a little bit. I can see that. Yep. So fun. Thank you for being here tonight. And you know how to find me if you ever need anything. Take care and have a great rest of your week.